Yo, what's good, everybody? What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Johnny Finesse. Welcome back to the channel. And today we got group chat projects be like an animation. If you're new to the channel and have a subject, make sure you hit that sub button. Y'all, we on the road to 1,100 subs, man. Be sure to make sure to hit that sub button. If you're new, make sure you hit that like button. I need that stuff. But that being said, let's get right into it, man. I'm tired of this shit right now, bro.
Had to do a group project before because a group project could never just go 100% smoothly. It seemed it could never. There's
It
just
goes
way
smoothly.
too many variables for any chance of that. I mean, you got the one guy who thinks clicking the arrows forward on the PowerPoint slides counts as him doing his part, and you have the control for.
I would do that, and then I would present. Like, yeah, I don't have to say nothing. I'll present. I'll make sure everything goes correctly. All that. Like, I can answer questions
who needs
too.
to have everything turn out exactly how she envisions it, and any and all ideas have to be filtered through her authority first, and she's always beefing with the person who just steamrolls through the project because they just want it over with and finished. And you got the guy who doesn't even know what the project's about, probably doesn't even know what class he's in. I mean, you can forget about him ever showing up to a group meeting if you ever try and plan one of those. And then you can't forget about the guy who's low-key actually kind of smart, but wants to wait. It's due on the 25th. He wants to wait till the evening of the 24th to even start the project. Every group meeting up until then, he's playing some weird card game on his phone. And then half the people never respond in the group chat anyways. Which I never understood, by the way, why some of y'all will intentionally, deliberately wait like 17 hours before responding in the group project group chat.
Ah, that's a fact, because niggas be looking at their phone. I do the same shit too, but most of the time in group chats, when that shit happens, they be having a conversation where I can't really put my 2 cents in or don't really care about.
I know you see the messages, so you really think this group of people is gonna move smoothly through a group project? Like, there's no way a successful collaborative effort is going to take place here. This group of people is gonna produce the most patchworked, non-cohesive hodgepodge of a group project ever. But it might be okay because the over-controlling girl, she might show up on the morning it's due with a completely new version that she made all on her own anyways, behind everyone else's back. But then she also might try to put only her name on it and tell
Gangsta.
the teacher that nobody else helped her.
But they
So
already
that could get tricky right there.
Yeah.
I really once had a girl do the group project with us, and then she showed up the day it's due with a whole separate version she did on her own, and asked the teacher if he could count her version that she did by herself for her own grade. I think she needs to revisit the definition of group. The thing about group projects in school, it was like playing the lottery with your grades. You didn't know whether you were gonna get some Dumb and Dumber combo pack, or maybe you'd get some OP, the Intelligence Avengers were just assembled type group. But I guess that's the point, learning to work with all types of everybody. I remember the hardest I ever got carried in a group project. Like, I had to start a GoFundMe for this person's back surgery with how hard they carried. So I was in science class one day, back in my freshman year of high school, and the teacher assigns this group project, and it was to make a board game. So we had to make a biology-themed board game. And it was just 2 people, so maybe more of a partner project, I guess. But a couple days go by, my partner and I haven't even discussed this group project. So I start getting a little bit anxious because I wanted a good grade on the project. So I bring it up to him one day in class. I'm like, yo, Trevor, how about that board game group project? You know, this seems like a lot of work. Maybe we should start. And then he interrupts me and he was like, oh, my mom did the whole thing for us last night. And then proceeded to pull out from his backpack this like biology themed homemade board game, complete with a decorative box and everything, straight from his backpack. And this thing, when he opened it, this thing was done better than most of the stuff you'd find in Target, to tell you the truth. I guess his mom just whipped this up one night. And the thing was, I mean, there was absolutely no chance this thing was created by 2 14-year-old boys. It had like color coordinated themes going on.
The bridge is
There was
paint.
arts and crafts glued onto the board. She made cards to go with it.
This is in a cell. I forgot what this called. The M-Zine? The M-Zine?
Like, it was so obvious that the 2 of us had no part in the creation of this board game. So I don't know if the teacher just didn't realize or just didn't care, because she gave us a straight 100% on the project. But then again, I don't know how you couldn't. We handed in something straight out of the Hasbro factory. I mean, you want to talk about getting carried through a group project? I got carried by someone that wasn't even in the group. By someone's mom doing arts and crafts at the kitchen table.
Ain't nothing wrong with
Have
that.
a teacher do one of those peer review forms at the end of a group project where you're supposed to rate your group members, and then they all fill out the same form on you. I remember I did this one group project in high school, and I got randomly placed in a group with a friend of mine, and then these other two random people that I didn't really know. I think they were in different grades. And the one girl was just hating on the both of us during the whole project, just being antagonistic for no reason. And we tried to work with her, but the whole project was just a struggle. There were arguments and everything. She just had this whole superiority complex the whole time. But we ended up getting through the project, turned it in, and I thought we made it through. I thought we were good. But then the teacher hands out these peer evaluation sheets to rate our group members on a scale of 1 to 5. And I knew this couldn't be good, just based on the amount of conflict there was in that group project. So I'm sitting there in class, filling out this peer review form, and my friend was filling out his next to me, and this girl Rachel was filling hers out on us, but she was sitting across the room on the other side.
But how they in different grades?
Go, what do you think Rachel's gonna give us? He's like, I don't know, but probably something bad. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I don't want the teacher to think we didn't do our part from her bad review that I know she's writing about us right now, because that's just not how it went down. This girl just hates us. And our other homie sitting next to us hears this conversation, and he goes, hold up, I got you guys. I'll stand up, pretend like I need to go get a tissue, and secretly look over her shoulder to see what rating she gave you guys. So we're like, yeah,
that's a real nigga.
Right. So he gets up, he's walking over to her seat. She's all the way on the opposite side of the room. This dude really pretended like he needed a tissue.
That's a real nigga.
Blowing his nose. And I can see him kind of looking over her shoulder at her peer review paper, trying to lean in a little closer, trying to see what score she wrote down for us. And then I see his facial expression change all of a sudden, and he just bursts out, yells across the room. I don't know if he forgot this was supposed to be a stealth mission, but he just blurts out and yells across the room. He's like, oh, she gave you guys a 2. And those words just traveled across the entire room. Everybody in the class was looking back at us. I was like, bro, ain't no way this man just
failed
yelled
the mission
across the room right now. And she was not happy, bro. She was sitting there fuming and understandably.
Like, why would you do that?
I mean, she probably bumped it down to a 1 now after we tried to spy on her. I think the most memorable group project I was a part of was when we had to make a short film, and part of the reason it was memorable was because there was way more shenanigans that went down that should ever be happening in a simple group project, and it was also partly because of the absolutely ridiculous lengths we had to go to just to try and complete this stupid short film group project. I mean, to start off, the teacher let us pick our groups, so it was me and 3 friends trying to film a 10-minute long video. So things started to go off the rails the minute that group was formed. I mean, trying to get work done with your friends, it seems like nothing serious could ever get finished. But anyways, so the teacher hands out this paper about this massive final project. It was going to be a huge percentage of our grade. She hyped it up like we were going to be failures in life if we didn't do well on it. But hey, all we saw was that the due date was like 2 months away, so how could you not procrastinate at that point? And to give you some context, the project was supposed to be about one of the books we had read earlier in the year, and the book my group got assigned was a book called Brave New World, and a big part of this book was basically about drugs, and everyone in the book is always on drugs. And you'll see how that'll come into play later. So she gave us like 9 weeks to finish this project, but we waited till like week 8 of 9 to even pull out and read the directions, and we start realizing how intensive of a project this is. I mean, the project was 20% of our final grade for a reason.
I think
this wasn't retarded. Just pull out a camera, film something in a day, and you're good. There were all sorts of requirements and checklists, and a certain amount of scenes you needed that needed to be a certain way. So we start panicking. I mean, do you know how much effort it takes to make a full 10-minute short film about a book we studied in class months ago? And I don't think not one of us even read the book in the first place. You already know we made a quick visit to sparknotes.com to figure out what the book was even about. So we were at the library after school one day, starting the project, typing up the script to the video, and we start to realize like this project is due at the end of the week. How are we gonna get this whole thing
10 minutes,
and
that's
edited in 4 days? And a big thing we were trying to figure out was where we were gonna be able to even film this in the first place. And that's when our one group member, Omar, he's like, oh, don't worry, I know this one place we can film at. There's this warehouse near downtown, kind of a secretive spot. Not too many people know about it. And Omar was the definition of I know a guy. He knew a guy for everything, somehow. He always knew a guy. You got car problems? Oh, I know a guy. You need a place to stay? I know a guy. You need a fake ID? I know a guy.
All in
but
high
then
school,
you
that's
never knew
lit.
what to expect from said guy. Except in this case, it was I know a spot, and we didn't know what to expect.
I mean,
from
he
this
didn't say it
spot.
was good.
So we're already skeptical
good.
about this place, just based on the fact that the suggestion was coming from Omar. So we start questioning him further about this supposed mysterious hidden warehouse that's perfect for filming, but nobody else knows about it. And it just got more suspect the more questions we asked. For example, we asked him what the hours to the building were because we knew there was about to be some late nights trying to finish this project, and he said that there were no hours. Instead, there was just a guy called the Keymaster that had the keys to the building, and you had to be let in by him, and then you had to leave whenever he left. And I was like, did you really just say Keymaster? Like, sounded so mysterious for no reason. And I guess there were a few different Keymasters, so the place was open whenever one of them was there.
So they rented out the building,
but
basically.
you never knew when they were going to be there because it might be different every day. You just had to guess and get lucky. So that was suspect. I've never heard of
So you
no
gotta rent out the building.
business using no Keymasters before. So we're all wondering, like, what type of place is this? I didn't even want to ask him how he knew about this place. I mean, who knows what guy he knows that showed him this spot. And then we looked up the address on Google Maps Street View, and it was this brick building with this completely blacked out door, a blacked out window, and their logo, which was just a giant skull painted right in the middle. So sounds about right for a place where you gotta go through a Keymaster to get in. But he said it would be a perfect place for us to film at, and it doesn't cost any money. You just walk in, walk out. I mean, the whole thing was extremely suspect, but we didn't really have time to go searching for a better option that would meet all the requirements we needed for the movie. So we took him for his word and decided to go try this place out the next day after school. So fast forward to the next day, we've only got like 3 days left to finish the project that's gonna determine our grade for the entire semester. We're stressing out and we're meeting up at a strange warehouse. So we pull up after school and the doors were locked. So we knock on the front door and I guess wait for the Keymaster guy to open up. I swear I thought someone in black robes was gonna come out and prick our fingers for blood or something. But we knock on the door, this dude in a beanie opened up and he just kind of looked at us and we looked back at him for a bit. And then he stepped aside and let us in, no words exchanged. And so we walk in, and I'll never forget the first time I walked through that door because this place had the strangest vibes. First of all, it looked nothing like what Omar described, but I walk in, and it was the most cluttered thing I've seen in my life. It was this giant room filled with computers, monitors, laptops, cords running everywhere. And first of all, this place was way bigger on the inside than you would think from looking at it on the outside.
No furniture.
Every wall was painted a different color, so that was strange. There were these wooden rafters on the ceiling and exposed air ducts, just giving the place this unfinished feel. And then there was a set of double doors leading to another section of the building, all the way up against the back wall. And pretty much the only thing in this room was just tables on tables crammed with computers on computers and cords running all over the place. And there were also people sitting at some of the computers, and they were all just staring at us like we had just entered into a place we weren't supposed to know about. And you could tell they were all like computer programmer / hacker type people. You know, some girl with half her head shaved off has got like paragraphs of code running across some triple monitor setup. Some dude is sitting there in a black hoodie looking like he's about to hack Microsoft. I feel like I walked into Mr. Robot if you've seen that show. It legitimately seemed like there was some sort of underground hacking operation going on. There's security cameras all along the walls that I feel like have probably already scanned our faces and were a part of some database now. You know how many times I double checked my bank account that night? And everybody was just staring at us like, who are these kids just walking up on in here? The Keymaster dude had walked back to his spot and started clicking and typing away again. And I just turned to Omar and I whisper, I'm like, bro, you sure this is the place? What are we supposed to film in here? And he whispers back, he's like, nah, just keep walking straight to the back through those doors. And so we keep going past all these rows of computers. People are still staring us down. I'm afraid I'm gonna trip over a cord, interrupt somebody's hacking session and be executed on site. But we finally made it to the back doors, and behind those doors was a whole nother section of the building. Like, this place was huge. And it was this hallway that went all the way back with rooms on either side of the hall, and then there were sub hallways that shot off from the main one, leading to who knows where else. The thing was like a maze. This place was like
that's what I'm about to say. Why is that like
a compound controlled by Keymasters apparently?
Like it's hidden by something.
I tried to find the bathroom in that place once. That was an experience in itself, walking all around trying to figure out where I was. But anyways, this section was pretty quiet. There wasn't really anybody else back here. So we start checking out some of the rooms, and to Omar's credit, I mean, it looked like he came through. There were definitely a lot of rooms that we could use to film in. I just wish he would have told us about that first section beforehand. So we start filming there in the back half of this place pretty much every day of the week after school, trying to speed run through this project. People would look at us weird coming in and out, but other than that, nobody really bothered us, at least up until this one day when one of the keymasters tried to kick us out, but we'll get to that part in a second. But our process throughout this entire week is we would film in this warehouse at night, and then we would edit whatever we filmed the next day after school ended, and then repeat. But the other problem was all of us had computers that were straight cheeks, so we would film some scenes, but then have no computer to edit the footage on. So our next option was to go after school and use the school computers, but those were probably even worse, except for this one room that actually had some pretty nice computers. Probably the most expensive stuff that school owned. The problem with that room is because there was nice stuff in there, they had an auto lock on that door that would be locked constantly 24/7, and nobody was allowed in there unless you had a class in there. Now, when the teacher was in there, they would prop the door open with a trash can so people that had classes in there could get in and out. But the teacher that taught in that room would be leaving school right when it ended. This man would be dipping ASAP. You could show up 30 seconds after the bell rang and he'd already be gone, and the door was auto-locked behind him, and there was no getting in if you didn't have a key. But right after school is when we needed to be in there, so we needed to find a way in if we wanted a computer that we could edit this project on. Basically, the success of our future in life depended on it. Now, we figured out that during the day when the door was propped open, that you could actually slip like a pen or a pencil into the door frame, and that would actually just barely prevent the door from closing when they took the trash can away. And so the door wouldn't actually lock even if it looked fully closed to anybody just walking by it. So every day of this week, when we were grinding to finish this final project, one of us would make sure to leave whatever class we were in about 10 minutes before school ended and slip a pencil in the door frame of the computer room. So then we could get in there after school and cram what the teacher intended to be months of work into a couple of days. So we're breaking into the computer room after school and then hitting up this extremely suspect hacker warehouse with spare rooms in the back at night. That was the process this whole week. So on one of these days, it was probably about 5 o'clock, we edited what we filmed the day before in that computer room and then get in the car to drive over to the warehouse. And like I had said earlier, a big part of this book was about drugs. So we were going to film some scenes today related to the book where we were pretending to be on drugs and pretending to take drugs. So we had some props, you know, we had some old prescription bottles and put Tic Tacs in them. We had weeds, like actual weeds, you know, we thought we were funny. Lighters, just props for the scene, you know. And as we were walking up to the warehouse, we saw this snow cone truck parked down the street. And our one friend is like, hold up, you know what we need to make our drug scenes complete today? We need some fake cough syrup, some fake lean. And he gets some empty Polar Pop cups he had lying around in his car, and then proceeds to walk up to the snow cone truck, which had this little flavor dispenser thing on the side, and empty every single flavor of syrup into one of the cups so they would all mix together and create this dark syrupy looking liquid, so it pretty much looked like he was standing there with a cup of lean. Filled up the whole cup, made it look like cough syrup, and then dipped before whoever was inside the truck would notice. For you to know, for you to make lean, you had to mix that with a soda. For the soda to be black, you had to have a dark soda, which is weird. Why would you do that? So that's like you putting lean with cola. Truck to make fake cough syrup for our movie scene. Now, I don't condone robbing snow cone trucks. I'm just saying what happened. So we take all this contraband, fake contraband, into one of the rooms. We're filming, pretending to be faded, popping Tic Tacs, when all of a sudden we notice through the window one of the Keymaster guys snooping around in the hallway back there. I don't know if he was spying on us or what. And then he moves past the window and there's a knock on the door. So we open the door, we're like, yeah, what's up? And he looks over at the table, there's bottles of pills everywhere, cups of lean, lighters, strange looking pieces of grass. And he goes, if that's what you guys are coming here to do, then you can leave right now. And then points towards the front doors. And it took us a second to realize, like, oh, this dude thinks all of this on the table is real drugs. He thinks we're just here to mess around. So we start trying to tell him, like, these aren't real drugs. Like, here, have a sip of some snow cone juice. It'll make your tongue purple. It is not, in fact, cough syrup. But he just wasn't believing us. We're trying to crunch up like 6 Tic Tacs at once and breathe in his face. Like, you ever smelled cool mint before? And I don't think he ever fully believed us about we were just filming a movie, because right before he
Where's
left,
the camera?
he's like, look, I'm not gonna call the cops or anything, just keep it low key is all I'm saying. And when he said he wasn't gonna call the cops, care. I'm like, yeah, I bet you aren't gonna call the cops, because let's not forget about whatever you got going on next door. What, you don't want too much attention over here so you can steal people's identities in peace, or what?
But you don't know that's for
he was
sure.
gonna kick us out for a second, but he eventually walked off and let us stay. So after that interruption, we continue filming our scenes, and on that day we actually finished filming for everything. All that was left was to finish the editing. So we left the warehouse at like probably 9 or 10 p.m. that night, and the project was due that next morning, and we still had all this editing to do. So we couldn't go use the school computers right now. I mean, that would require not only breaking into the computer room, but also the entire school at
they have
this
to use
hour.
the computers
instead,
in there.
We hit up a Starbucks parking lot for the free Wi-Fi and edited that video for like 5 hours until like 3 a.m. And we did it on this man's laptop that was not meant for editing. Trust me on that. There was like a 15-second lag on whatever we tried to do. But we finally finished in the middle of the night, in the middle of a Starbucks parking lot. And
at
the video
3
itself,
a.m.
by the way, for everything we went through to finish it, I mean, come on, we're breaking into computer rooms, we robbed a snow cone truck, we're walking into suspicious buildings not knowing if we'll ever walk out. But the video itself was so trash. The acting garbage, the editing garbage. It was painful to try and stand up there and stay serious and try to present that as our final project. But still, I gotta say, probably the most effort I've ever put into a school project. But then again, we wouldn't have had to do any of that if we didn't wait until week 8 of 9 to even pull out the instructions. But I was always curious about that warehouse. I think it was supposed to be some sort of privately owned community workspace, but for some reason it just seemed like it attracted people that would steal my identity and sell it to somebody.
No, that's just niggas in
I almost
computers.
felt like I was gonna see that place on the news one day, like it got shut down for some undercover bank fraud operation or something. So I recently tried to look up the place on Google Maps, but it wasn't there anymore, and there was just a vacant building in its spot with no business in it. So who knows what happened to it. But that's all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
I mean, COVID happened to it. COVID.
A long time to make. You know, you guys are DMing me, asking me if I'm dead. So I appreciate your guys' patience.
But hey, if you made it to the end of the video, you obviously like the video, so you obviously gotta subscribe. Make sure you hit that sub button, y'all. We on the road to 1100 subs. It's your boy Johnny Finesse, and I'ma holla at y'all. Peace.